Oh. So anyways, it's Saturday. Saturday night. I'm Mike Coppolino, and I am a stand-up comedian, sort of. If I get all my shit together. No, I'm actually here to tell jokes. It's 1:30 in the morning on a Sunday night, so I don't know what this is. This is like a practice session. So it's going to be another practice session, mostly to get sound right. I don't know how loud this is. This is pretty loud in the alley. So this isn't the alley. This is the parking lot. So there'll be like a shift in tone, like halfway through this album, where I'm checking out the sound in like a narrower alley and a wider alley. Yeah, and then I'll make my decision on where to film the album or whatever. But anyways, I should actually be funny before all this happens. So instead of just being prophetic. Oh God. So, it's had a rough week. I don't know if you can tell, I had a rough week. I had a guy walk up to me, just sitting in a coffee shop. This guy walked up to me and says, "Hey, you know I can get some heroin?" Like, dude, come on. Do I look like I know where to get heroin? That's actually what I said to the guy. I mean, of course I know where to get heroin. I mean, obviously. I mean, I have friends, they know all the letters in hepatitis. The one was sitting right next to me. He's probably like aiming for that guy. Like thinking that guy's going to go get it for him, But if he does heroin, he's a closeted heroin user. I think he just smokes a lot of cigarettes and has breathing problems. But this guy wanted heroin from me. Like, that was the funniest thing. And I didn't know he had a habit. It just out of the blue. So, I get some heroin. And I said, of course. I mean, because the heroin dealer was sitting like 15 feet away from us. There was a heroin dealer right there. He was just fucking around on Facebook. He was like plugged into it's a coffee shop. I was at a coffee shop. He's plugged in to like 3 devices. He had like 3 phones. A junkie with 3 phones. Imagine that. I said, why don't you just go talk to Keith? He knows where to score the dope. Like Keith is a real heroin dealer's name. But the guy says, I don't like talking to Keith. I think Keith is an asshole. So I say, well, where do you expect me to find asshole-free heroin for you? Where do I find asshole-free heroin? Does that exist? Does that exist anywhere? Like, do you want to side a unicorn with that? Some pieces of the true cross? What do you want? He wanted OxyContin, probably, from his grandmother's, like, medicine cabinet. But now he was on the lookout for heroin. And he was, like, really insistent. Like, he wanted me to go get heroin, and I know nothing about getting heroin. But I played along, The thing was this. We're at this coffee shop. I know the guy. I mean, I know everything about him. And what he wants me to do is he wants me to go looking for heroin in a Prius. He has a Prius. He wants me to drive around 5 Points looking for heroin in a Prius. I mean, and he just keeps asking me, like, hey, Mike, you want to go look for tigers in a styrofoam Jeep? Because that's what the language I get converted to in my head. You want to go visit ATMs with a gun to your head? You want to waste 4 hours on a Saturday? No, none of that. I don't even know if those loose boards still exist. Like that neighborhood might have changed. Like these are the things I know about. I have to enjoy my drugs. I don't want to go looking for heroin when I'm already on drugs. But the guy was so fucking insistent. And he was like making a scene. He was actually attracting attention to me. So desperate. Finally, I just noticed that there was a tweaker like sitting like 5 feet away from us. There's a convenient tweaker. Because he's always there. And he's just fucking around, teaching some drought-resistant plants how to rebuild an engine. Like he's just a tweaker. We know him. Like, his name is Wiggy, all right? He wears a white wig. And he's just there, you know? So I realize he's there. So I just snap my fingers. And he turns around and stares at me, and I just move out of the way, and then he's staring at this junkie. And it's like I just hooked up the world's greatest talker and the world's greatest listener just by moving out of the way. You know, I feel like the Jane Austen of 5 Points. And I watched the love affair grow. And then they went off. I mean, they went off in the Prius. Like 2 junkies in a Prius, and I felt guilty like for a second because they made a 12-point turn in a parking lot just to get out of it. There's 2 junkies in a silent car. I'm just like letting Braille for middle finger loose into the world just by doing that. This is why I feel so guilty. I feel like I should be like socially responsible for like things, but there's nothing I can do about it. Like, what can I do? I could just kind of enjoy my privacy for a little bit. Oh, God. I walked into a bank today dressed like this. Dressed like I dress. And the computer slowed down. Like, the computers in the bank slowed down. Like, it was noticeable. Like, there was 3 people in line, and all the tellers were there, and the tellers were just sitting there complaining about the new system. You know? They were just complaining about the new system, and I said, well, I mean, it's a bank computer. It's probably just trying to charge us all more money. I mean, that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to charge us more money. That's why it's thinking so hard. Like, what can I get away with? You know, we could charge the poor people for having, like, money in a bank. You know, you need to. You need to have money on a card. I mean, so you have to have money in a bank. We have to charge you for this. It's really inconvenient for us to have all this money. All right. So how many popes does it take to screw in an altar boy? I mean, speaking of jokes. How should I know? I've repressed memories. These are like Italian jokes. Oh, man. So what did Tweaker Jesus, I'm Italian still. What did Tweaker Jesus say to his disciples at the Last Supper? Oh, he said, this is my meth, this is my bicycle. Take this and help me look for it. That's like a classic joke. That's a classic joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? I should have an audience. No, but that's not the joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Reverse mortgage. Reverse mortgage who? Reverse mortgage. Why am I knocking on this door? This is my house now. Like, that's a good joke. I tried to pick up a potato chip this morning, but when I did, it turned out it was snot. It was snot. Like, I've had an allergy attack all week, and I've still been doing comedy, like for nobody. Alright. So, anyways, I tried to pick up a potato chip this morning. But when I picked it up, it was snot. It was snot. It was a big thing of snot. So I steam cleaned my carpet all day. Because I'm that kind of guy. I'm like civilized. Jesus. I'm a life coach. I mean, I can't help it. You know, because, you know, people are desperate and need to be disappointed. And that's my job. It's an easy job. It's an easy to get paid for it. I charge $60 an hour. You know? And I have a patio. That's all you need to be a life coach, really, is to have a patio cover. You know, you have to have slanted light. And, like, so when the sun moves, like, people can actually feel time move. It makes them feel like they're getting what they paid for. Like, that's the most important thing about life coaching. You know? So usually what I do is, like, whenever I have a new client, I always tell them, hey, the only thing worse than failure is listening to someone tell you how to be better at it. And then they pay me. They pay me to say that to them. It's so brilliant. I mean, because they can't defy that logic. You know, and then later on, like for added installments, I get to teach them sarcasm. Because that's how you get through life, virtually. You get through it with sarcasm. Man. Anyways, so me and my girlfriend got into a huge argument because we're Italian. We did. It was a huge argument. It was stupid. I was sitting on the toilet, and she kicked the door in and started waving a dead electric razor in my face. Like her personal grooming tools. She was like waving it in my face. And she said, hey, this hasn't been working since yesterday. And there's a thick hair in here, and it's broken. Have you been using my Lady Norelco? I said, no, of course not. And I said, maybe your hair isn't thickening up. And then we got into a terrible argument. It was a very Italian argument, the most Italian argument ever. It was like about genital hair. And it was so stupid because we're in love, you know. We're in love. And she knows, I mean, I shave myself. We all shave ourselves. I mean, we're not like animals. You know, but I shave myself like, I manscape like the manly way. I mean, I do. I manscape with a lighter. That's manly. I mean, I manscape with a lighter. That's what a real man does. Yeah, because, you know, a real man smells like barbecue, and a real man stands too close to the grill. Because a real man's stupid. Also, if you ever have to get to the ass, if you ever have to manscape your ass, if you're using a lighter, you don't have to even look at it. You don't have to look at it. You just have to listen. You just have to listen to how your hair burns. You have to feel it. You know, you have to know how it, you have to know everything. But you don't have to look at it. You just, you know, you just hear, you know, and then you're done. Like mostly done, but who cares? Nobody's going to look at that. Oh, gosh. So anyways, I get PTSD from being myself. It's been a problem lately. Last week I had a self-deprecation contest. And I didn't win and I came in first place. I'm actually very special. I'm special in a lot of ways. But my most significant way that I'm special is I actually have the largest collection of second place trophies in the world. The largest collection of second place trophies in the world that are authenticated. Authenticated second place trophies. I have the largest collection. I have like 1,206 authenticated second place trophies. They're trophies from people that have won second place in something. I buy them when people like lose their shit. I actually auction for like second place trophies. Like famous ones, some of them. But I have the largest collection of them. It keeps growing because, you know, people listen to my albums. And they go like, oh, I could sell him a second place trophy. No, but seriously, if you want to have more second place trophies than I do, then you could take the title. You could have 1,209 second place trophies. Or more. You can race to have as many second place trophies as you want. I want you to do that. For me. Alright. Oh, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but I've had trouble with cocaine. I've had trouble with coke. You know, once it got so bad, I ended up going to an NA meeting. I was so strung out. I had to wave my paycheck around almost 3 minutes before I got any coke. So my new fetish is looking suspicious. It's pretty easy. It's like the easiest fetish. It's the laziest fetish and the shortest joke. All I have to do is just say thank you, you know? If I'm standing in front of an audience, thank you very much. Oh, I actually work at it. I work at looking suspicious, you know? Like whenever I go to the airport, I just wear a turban. You know, I have to learn how to tie a turban up on the internet. I don't have any fake turbans or anything. I don't have that kind of money. You know? I just walk around the airport with a turban and a huge boner. Get so excited. Yeah, sometimes when I see the cops, I just run the opposite direction. But then they catch me because it's hard to run when you're jerking off. Ugh, man. Speaking of cops, I mean, they're not passing by right now, but I mean, eventually that's going to happen, and that's going to be like a press release. But I was sitting in a neighborhood bar. Like, I have neighborhood bars. In addition to coffee shops, I sit in neighborhood bars. And you know that they're a neighborhood bar because they serve breakfast there. So usually I'm there, like, having a Bloody Mary and a breakfast. Like a good breakfast. And I was sitting there, you know, I was sitting there one Sunday, and this guy walks in. He doesn't even walk in. He sees me through the window of the bar. And he gets so fucking excited. Like, he's so amazed that I'm there. He's like pointing at me. He's a complete stranger. And I'm a comic, so I just assume, you know, that he knows me from somewhere. I made him laugh or something. But no, he doesn't do anything like that. He walks up to me and he starts shaking my hand. And he shakes my hand and says, "Hey man, I saw you last night peeing in a police car." That's a big surprise to me. Yeah, he said, "I saw you peeing in a police car. You were peeing through the window all over the guns. I saw it. It was the most amazing thing ever. I can't believe you're here." And, you know, I didn't know what to say. I was actually, yeah, I was kind of flattered. But I had to tell him, I'm sorry, man, you got the wrong guy. That wasn't me. I wasn't the guy that peed in that police car. But he looked at me like, completely like, confused and said, "Yeah, right." And then he left the bar. Like, disappointed that I didn't want to know him. He actually left the bar thinking I was the guy that had peed in that police car. Like, you know what that means? It means somebody's walking around right now, and they look exactly like me. Only they're way cooler than I am. And I can't do anything about that. I can just wait for my credit to get shitty. Shittier. Oh, God. Wait. Alright, fine. I'm a professional comic, like, obviously. I have a little bit of a stammer. But I'm a professional, almost. I mean, the thing is, I don't have any bestiality jokes. I don't have any real shockers. I don't have any bestiality jokes. No jokes about animal fucking for me. It's not that I'm, like, unethical. I mean, I'm just, like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I just don't have any good bestiality jokes. You know. However, I'm an artist. So I do know a guy with a set of ivory butt plugs. I know a guy with a set of ivory butt plugs. Why would I make that up? It's the truth. Yeah, but it's ethical ivory. It's ethical ivory. You know, I mean, it's all ethical ivory now, you know, but it was ethical ivory then, you know, because the butt plugs are over 150 years old, you know, so they're grandfathered in. These jokes are obvious. I need drugs to do normal things. I don't know if you know this about me. I need drugs just to do normal things. I had to drop 5 hits of acid just to do my taxes. And I ended up claiming an astral body as a blind dependent. You know, back in 1989 when it was legal, you know, I did it. You know, and then the stock market crashed. And then they took that deduction away. They did that deduction away, but I had to keep up with it because, you know, I like to save money. So I've been writing off an astral body as a blind dependent for like, oh God, 25 years? Is it more? Like 30 years? I'm fucking old, you know. I don't know how long I've been doing it, since 1989. I can't do arithmetic. You know. Yeah, I've actually, I'm so old. I made ashtrays in kindergarten. I made ashtrays in kindergarten. I had a class, and we made ashtrays in kindergarten, and we got graded on it. We got graded on making our ashtrays, and we brought them home to our parents. Our parents were really fucking happy to see them. Like, that's how old I am. Like, can you imagine that now if some kid made an ashtray in class in kindergarten? Like, the school would be shut down. Anyways, I was talking about taxes. No, like I say, I have to do acid just to do my taxes. I mean, I've been audited. I've been audited 3 times. You know, for all that time. You know, but I never really worry about it because I save all my receipts. You know? I do. I have just piles of receipts. And the last time I was audited, this tax assessor came up to me. This fucking tax assessor came up to me, tried to surprise me. You know, he said, hey, Mr. Coppolino. Mr. Coppolino, it says here you have 19 sole proprietorships. Like, do you know that's impossible? You have 19 sole proprietorships. You have 44 limited liability corporations, Mr. Coppolino. And you have a non-profit corporation, which I don't understand. Like, you have a non-profit corporation that exchanges currency between Malaysia and Greece. It just keeps losing money. Like, Mr. Coppolino, how can you possibly exist on $4,000 a year? Like, how can you... I looked at that tax assessor, I said, how do I even know I'm really here right now? How do I know I'm even really here right now? Like, I was at another coffee shop, and I saw you there. And you actually followed me from one coffee shop to another coffee shop, thinking that this was my home address. And that's how you get out of an audit. That's how you get out of an audit. Like, does any of this matter? It's crazy. I had a comic accuse me of being a nihilist the other day. A nihilist. Like, what was he hoping to accomplish? Like, oh, you got me. I'm a nihilist. Man. I had a guy walk up to me, like, years ago, and he said, hey, you look like you know a lot about buckets. And he wasn't trying to be insulting. You look like you know a lot about buckets. And I do know a lot about buckets. Like, I know the weight of a gallon. You know? I know what the weight of a gallon is. I know what a bucket is. Anyways, we got into a bucket-related conversation. There was a bucket-related conversation. And he was another comic. I know, you know, and he's still out there, and he's pretty fucking great. But he's so depressed because he killed a bunch of people. But he was like, he was just so pissed off about this thing. He just said, hey, I mean, you ever see these buckets where they got this baby stenciled on the side of the bucket? They got a baby stenciled on the side of a bucket, and the baby is falling into a bucket of water. And this stencil has an X through it, and it's warning people not to leave, like, half-filled buckets of water laying around. They put it on the bucket. How stupid does a fucking kid have to be to, like, fall into a bucket and drown? That's what the guy said to me. How stupid does a kid have to be to fall into a bucket and drown? I said, yeah, probably pretty stupid, but, you know, I can't read. I thought those were just instructions for assembling a dead baby. I mean, this is relieving to me, like, this discussion. I mean, I wasn't going to do it or anything. I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you followed the instructions, like, you might get away with it. I mean, because it says it right on the bucket, you know. Because they do it right. Like the bucket is like 1/3 filled with water. Like that's enough water for a baby to fall into it and then drown. Like if the bucket was filled all the way up, the baby would just float to the top and get out. Like there was instructions on how to do it. That's what I'm saying. Ugh. I think that's all just a marketing campaign to sell more buckets. Like somebody just put that stencil on the side of a bucket, and people thought like all these buckets that didn't have the stencil were like baby killing monsters. Like so they started buying those buckets, and they raised the price on buckets. But that's just me. That's like my speculation. I'm an evil person. These are jokes, right? Where am I at? Where is my head at? I mean, these are like the new jokes. The new jokes. Oh, man. So I have a friend. Imagine that. And he came over to my house, and he doesn't have a job. Like, his whole job was for his parents to buy him a house, and he just masturbates in the house. That's his entire job. But he came to my house, and he's complaining about this job he had. And his job was to clip weed in the mountains. He was a weed clipper. And he was complaining about his job, a job that he's never had before. For 3 days, he got to clip weed in the mountains, and he got paid for it. He got paid $350, and he got fed, and he had a place to sleep in the mountains. Like, he got to sleep in the mountains for 3 days. And he had a big bag of weed, and I was smoking it with him. I was smoking this big bag of weed with him. And he was just complaining about his fucking job. I said, why are you complaining about this job? This is the best job in the world. I want to do this for the rest of my life. That job. And he just kept saying, well, they were hippies. And they were hippies. And they made him wipe his ass with cabbages. They made him wipe his ass with cabbages. And I had to have him explain that to me. You know, he said there was no toilet paper. There was no toilet paper anywhere in this place. I was eating a bunch of vegan lasagna, and I went to take a shit, and there was no toilet paper. There was just this cabbage in a half-filled pot of warm water, like sitting next to the toilet. And I didn't know what to do, so I just pulled my pants up, and I went to the guru, and I said, hey, there's no toilet paper in the bathroom. And the guy said, well, that cabbage is your toilet paper. It's renewable toilet paper. And he explained that you wipe your ass, you break off the leaves of the cabbage. You break off the leaves of the cabbage, and then you wipe your ass with the cabbage, and then you throw it into a little, like, the garbage. But they throw the garbage in a compost pile, and it makes more cabbages. You throw the piles of, like, cabbage that you wipe your ass with into a garden, and it makes more cabbages. It's renewable toilet paper. They made us use that. That's what he said. They made us use that. And I was just like, why would I even complain about that? Why would I complain about wiping my ass with cabbages if there was no other options? I would wipe my ass with the cabbage. I would think it was like a wet nap. But the thing was this. It wasn't regular cabbage. Like, it wasn't regular, it was genetically modified to have this, like, ability to make more cabbages after you wiped your ass with it. It was genetically modified cabbage. And it was genetically modified to have the texture of, like, toilet paper. So you could actually wipe your ass with it, but it wouldn't fall apart. It was like the perfect toilet paper. But it was genetically modified, so it gave people prions. Prions. And people got infected with these little fragments of protein that crawled up your ass and infected your brain. And it gave you Alzheimer's-like symptoms, but not that fast, a little slower. And people would wipe their asses with the cabbages because they thought it was such a great idea. And then they would just, like, their brains would melt, like with encephalitis, like some weird mad cow disease. And they would just crawl into, like, the garbage. And you crawl out to the curb where the garbage was picking up. Only Elon Musk robot tanks and spider drones would come by and pick you up and wrap you in, like, fucking, like, plastic and take you to the garbage where they turn you into organic fertilizer and mulch. And that's how we're all disposed of. That's how we all die. That's how we all die. That's what he said to me. That's how can you know all of this? You're like a fucking Def Leppard fan. You listen to Def Leppard all the time. And King Diamond. And he said, the reason I know all of this is because I'm not actually you. I'm not actually your friend. I am you. I am you. I am you from the future. From 7 years in the future. From a multiverse. That's diagonal to this one. Only 7 years in the future. And I look nothing like you. You know, because there's a whole different multiverse. But there's one uniting soul in the entire universe. And yours is united with mine. And so I came here to warn you about this. Don't wipe your ass at the fucking cabbages. And I looked at my friend, and I said, oh my God, this isn't weed, this is PCP. And then I was fucked up. Alright, that was a joke I'm working on. I'm working on that joke. Oh, God. They say everything comes in handy for the obsessive masturbator. That's true. You know, last night I jerked off to complete privacy. I wore a tinfoil hat while I did it, you know, just to be safe. I saw this commercial for Durex, the condom company. Yeah, Durex, the condom company. It just came out with a condom that enhances male sensitivity. You know, finally, right? Yeah, for added protection, each condom is wrapped in its own little apology note. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. That's like my biggest problem. I don't want to work. You know, I just want to fail at job interviews. You know, I actually failed a drug test. Speaking of shitty weeks, I failed a drug test. That was part of my shitty week. I applied for a job because I was desperate. You know, but they made me go to Aurora and pee in a cup as part of this fucking process. You know, because that's what Aurora is famous for. Anyways, I drive all the way to Aurora to pee in this cup. I lose all dignity. And then, I'm driving home, the lab calls me back and says, hey, Mr. Coppolino, bad news. You're hired, you got the job. You know, when can you start bagging fertilizer at the shit factory? God, people are afraid of clowns. It's fucking nuts, right? People are afraid of clowns. You know. I know, because May 21st is Red Nose Day. You know, Red Nose Day. That's the day we remember the plight of impoverished children by completely forgetting who John Wayne Gacy is. Like, that's what we do. That's what we do. I don't know if I believe in days. Like, there's all these commemorative days. Like, April 1st is supposed to be a holiday. Like, April 1st is a holiday, like, for maybe executions. Like, can you imagine that? Like, they must, like, take executions off on April 1st. Like, you can't have an execution on April 1st, not in America. Like, can you imagine that? Like, people would just be strapped to the gurney and, like, just getting injected with the death drugs. And the guard would show up and say, hey, why are you screaming? We're just injecting you with tap water. You know, get up, get out of your chair. Get up, get out of your chair. You're in jail. Do what I say. I can't... What the fuck? I can't believe you're strapped in. Keith, where are the keys? We don't do this on April 1st. We don't schedule executions for April 1st. No, of course you get 2 last meals. And then you just say, got you. I mean, that's what the guard would say. It'd be totally undignified to ever do that to anyone. And cruel. Like, you cut out all that anger like the person might be having. I mean, come on. That sucks. Oh, so anyways. What other jokes do I have? Like, these are jokes, right? I think I talked about, like, life coaching. I do life coach. I like brainwashing people. Sometimes I make people look at things on their phones to avoid talking to them. Like, that's like been the thing I've been doing. I had like I prey on sober alcoholics. I just prey on sober alcoholics. Like people that are just sitting in the morning and hang out and they're drunk. They talk about how they mix varnish together to get a color so they could justify their existence in the world. You know, and they kill a bunch of brain cells that way. But they get the perfect color for this floor that they're getting paid for. You know, you get paid to stay in somebody else's floor. They want to tell me how great they are. And whenever they do that for a long time, I like them to look random information up on their phones. Because they're always doing it to me. Like they're always trying to show me a skateboarding trick or something that they did. Or some cute cat that they own. Or something that connects them with the universe. You know? So whenever I see this coming, I sometimes say, hey, you ever wonder if dolphins get venereal disease? Because, you know, they're in salt water. You know, what if that cures it? And then they have to look it up. I actually had 3 sober alcoholics. 3 sober alcoholics lined up. They were all like feeding off each other. And I was just trying to find a seat. And they're all talking. They're arguing amongst themselves and not paying any attention to one another. And finally, I convinced them that fertility drugs were made from the urine of menopausal virgins. I convinced these 3 sober alcoholics that fertility drugs were made from the urine of menopausal virgins. Menopausal virgins. That's the only people that can make it. And the only place they can get this stuff was from the Vatican. Because we can't synthesize gonadotropins. We can't do it. So there's a bunch of nuns pissing in a cup and creating fertility drugs. Like just pissing all day, these nuns. Like they're farming them for the urine. And they're making like fertility drugs out of this urine. And all these nuns are driving around Corvettes in the Vatican. Like they're making all this money off of it. And it's the truth. I mean, you can look it up. It's actually the truth. And they started looking it up. All 3 of them simultaneously. It was a race to see who could find it first. And it's true. I mean, it's true. That's what they found out. They found that it was true. They are farming Vatican nuns for the urine to make fertility drugs. They're distilling it and putting it in pills, and women are taking it so they can have more babies. It's the truth. But they also make it out of they make it out of menopausal non-virgins, like normal women. Like you just have to pee in there and they pay you for it. It's like easier than plasma. And you get paid more. So if you want to make women fertile with you know, it's very depressing for women that are menopausal. That's why you get paid so much. But that's the truth. So they looked it up and they found that it was the truth. And that was the joke. The joke was me having 5 minutes of peace. That's what I do. That's what I do. I disrupt horrible shit. And then leave it alone. It's pretty funny though. I mean, it's funny to do that. I can't believe more people aren't doing that to other people. Just making them look up random shit on their phones. Like, their phones are everywhere. They're probably doing it without even knowing it. I can't even remember the last time they did that. Anyone here ever throw up on themselves because they're too fucked up to get out of the way? Anyone? I'm in traffic right now. No, traffic's going on. Anyone here ever throw up on themselves because they're too fucked up to get out of the way? Well, I haven't. Either. I have not. It's always one person that has. It's an honest room. Anyways. No, I threw up on myself so I wouldn't have to clean my car. I mean, I wasn't fucked up. I threw up on myself so I wouldn't have to clean my car. I did it because I was smart. Just threw up right on my chest. Just vomited on my chest so I couldn't roll down the window fast enough. And then I just stepped out of my car and I brushed off the vomit and I went right to work. You know, because I was essential to my job. I was on in 10 minutes. Nobody knows or cares. Like, if you have a wet spot on you when you go up. Like, people see how I dress. I dress like a fucking anarchist. Ah, God. What else do I have left? Oh, jeez. They say early bird gets the worm, but the meth bird stays awake. So who really gets the worm? You know, early bird or meth bird? No, it's actually a trick question. It's the early bird that gets the worm because the meth bird is never hungry. That's like my warm-up jokes. Jesus, it's going to be an accident. Oh, you know what? I think that's enough. It's like 2 in the morning. Like, people like fragmenting right now. So I'm going to like wait around. I'm probably going to have some pizza. And that's going to be it. That's going to be like 20 minutes of jokes. They were good jokes. It's good practice. So I've been Mike Coppolino. Have a great night. And we'll see how the sound is. Oh, I just did it in the parking lot at a high dive. You know, I had the Spirit take me. I didn't actually want to do sound tricks. It's too much traffic. Anyways, it's been my time at Mike Coppolino. Have a great night.